Hey, what's up? We're talking about a video. We're talking about the AI thing with Timberland, and I just got done doing a live stream with Busy Workspace, DJ Payne 1-8 McCree, yours truly, DLT2K. And it was a very nice discussion about the question if Timberland sold out. Busy Workspace brought a lot of great talking points that we had a conversation about. And I was honored to be a part of the conversation. And in this video, I just want to share my thoughts on this whole thing. It's probably different from a lot of people. I'm just different. I'm just different. I'm just different. So let's talk about it. So the headline state that Timbaland is signing an AI artist, but what is that really? The artist name is Tata, right? I think somebody just probably just rendered a picture of this. Um, but Tata's not really a artist in my opinion. She's a part of a really advanced sampler that does not pull from PCM code of WAV files, but from pieces of a trained model. And if Suno, if that's what it's on, is pulling from artists without consent, that's wrong. But I don't think that's going to stop them from doing what they want to do because people want to do what they want to do. And anyway, and a lot of people feel betrayed by Timbaland. I don't really feel betrayed because I guess I didn't really look up to Timbaland like that. Now I did back in the day. Um, I did look up to Timbaland a lot. I did not. That doesn't mean I hate it. I think I just grew out of it. I think after a while, when you advance your own skills, you're trying to figure out what your legacy is. So yeah, I grew up not really hating Timbaland, but kind of when you get to a certain point, you kind of learn about how human everyone is. And then you get to see how human Timbaland is. Whereas when you're a kid and you're hearing Timbaland and these beats with the crickets and the Leah, genuine, they appear larger than life. But then when you start learning about the technology yourself and you start learning about producing yourself, what seemed larger than life is just seen as a human being creating. And so I don't really hate him. I just became more concerned about what my journey was. He did influence me once upon a time, but then I learned from him sonically. I think I learned from what he did sonically, but then I take it from there. And that's the interesting thing, because what happens when the tools get to the point to when they say, we'll take it from here. You know, yeah. I don't see Tata's not sentient. So it's not really too big of a deal to me because okay, so you're a good prompter of an AI platform that's going to spit you out the result of a trained model, and so it just begs the question, because I heard some content from Busy Workspace's channel talking about this is great. Yeah, like, give me an AR artist so I don't have to deal with their attitude or fuss with them. I'll pay with them. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, how great it would be to have an AI label that will promote for you, treat you like a priority, and get you radio play. Somebody show me where that AI is at, right? And so it's this constant, okay, well, if you don't do like how I want to do, I'm just going to replace you with AI. Well, if you don't sing like how I want you to sing, I'm just going to replace you with AI. This reminds me of anime that I watched as a kid. It's called Macross Plus. I'm giving out of the gem if you're really paying attention. Anyway, there's an artist on there called Sharon Apple who is a virtual pop star. Sound familiar? And in which today we would call an AI artist. And it had its own personality. And it did what it wanted to do after a while. But it was modeled off of a character called Myung Fang Long, who in essence was his principal prompter. Not only did Sharon Apple take on the voice and characteristics of Myung, but also carried some of the flaws as well. And eventually, Sharon Apple became obsessed with the main characters in the anime and started to do his own thing. Kind of started taking over a ship called Macross and started activating weapons that it wasn't supposed to. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of the storylines dealing with technology, thinking about Terminator and all that stuff. And even though this virtual pop star was the number one artist on more than one world, there was still a gathering of people. People still wanted to come out and go see a show in this sci-fi fictional thing. And we still have that today. People gather at festivals, they gather at conventions to see a DJ basically press play on a DJ controller while the lights go off in sync to what they're doing. People still pay money to that. People still gather for sports. So yes, the world is changing. And maybe it's time for us to become ourselves who other people look up to. Maybe it's our turn to be that. Maybe Tim don't want to be that. I'm not 100% sure because I always wanted to meet him. I never met him. But he's not who I look up to anymore. We had a great experience. I had a great experience listening to his music, being blown away by that sound that sounded different. But after a while, I just grew. I admire him, but but he's no longer or has never been in a place to really offend me with what he's doing in the music industry. Because at the end of the day, he don't owe me anything. He doesn't owe me anything. Right? And I know a lot of artists are feel slighted. It's like, man, you could have worked with me. He could have worked with me too. But I'm still working. I'm still creating. Do you make music to make music, or do you make music to work with Timberland? Timberland does not have the monopoly on the opportunities for you in the music industry. I don't believe that. Timberland ain't the only one that is the key. He's probably somebody we all see because he's on the internet, but he doesn't hold the key. So, I'm not really afraid of these tools. I think it's best to be aware of these tools. I'm motivated to understand them more so that I can use the tools too the way I think would be fit. And if any, and that kind of brings a side part because I had to film this a second time. The thing is, if you're really concerned about independent music and independent artists, why don't you go see an independent show and buy a ticket to an independent show? If you so care about the independent artists, then let's talk about the last show you went to watching an independent artist where you spent money on a ticket and it wasn't the arm and leg price that you would get at Ticketmaster down at Mercedes-Benz or Phillips Arena. Let's talk about that. Let's have a conversation about that. If the concern for the independent artists and music producers is so great, then do things that support them. And side note, it's not streaming their stuff because they're holding on to that bag. So how do you support an independent artist? You buy their stuff. You buy their CD. Buy some of their merch. If you want to support the independents, if you're really that concerned, go see a show. Go see a show of these independent artists you're so concerned about. Because they're out here. I see them out here grinding in this city. And they're probably out grinding in the city by you, or they're out there busking or somewhere. Or subscribe to their content. Share it with other people. Or you could just let AI do its thing with Tim. And then we all talk about it some more on the internet. And no one's taking selfies at someone's show that's independent. Hey, I'm at such and such show, showing support. And from my experience, it's been more monetizable to cover old school records from the live gigging scene than my own original music. Because I still have to build a physical audience here in this city, or my own music. But like I say, if this is troubling you, stress you out, think it's wrong, then I advise you to get away from the phones and from the screens and experience music with others. And I think that is where you will see what really matters, because that will never be replaced. We are so in these rooms, on these screens, talking about what's wrong with the world. We're not out in the streets shooting content saying, hey, we're out here, check this out. We're out here at such and such concert or this networking event. Or the thing that won't ever go away is the thing that won't ever go away is the human gathering. Because we gather to see a DJ play future bass with lasers. We gather to see Beyonce. We gather to see Erykah Badu. You know, we gather to see Chris Brown. And if gathering wasn't such an experience for us as humans, then virtual VR would have taken off a long time ago. But even people go in VR to gather, because I've seen that scene. I see how they get down in there. And I think that's a great solution. If you want to resist, go see a show. Go support an artist. Amongst ourselves, let's support our own events. You know, it makes me think about maybe I should have me a Dilly Fest, and you know, create an experience for people to experience with music, and to create, you know, sell tickets that could help make money, but then also provide an experience for other people to gather around music, around producers. Maybe I should do that, because I think that is probably one of the greatest stands you can make against all this stuff that we're concerned about taking over. Or you want to let AI create events for us to attend to. I don't know. I see that as all as a tool. But yeah, if you want to support an artist, buy their CD. Don't stream it. Like I said, Spotify keeps that bag. Buy some of their merch. Support it. Gather. Go somewhere. Because that's where music's still making money. It's the money made on music online is only a residual of the event that took place. Side note, we look at wrestling, right? They wrestle in an arena. But the clips are mostly shared because they saw it online, because there's a connection there. But the one thing that we don't have is a physical connection, especially as a YouTuber, in my opinion. And it's hard work. It's harder work to schedule with people. And that's what makes AI so attractive, because you don't have to deal with people, because people may be available. People may be busy. People might have this or that flaw. You might not like this person, but you're cool. I get it. But I think it's a worthy work and I think it's good for you, because if you get around people that you don't like, you get to learn what your boundaries are. And once you know what your boundaries are, you can have boundaries, but you're not going to know what you don't like, how people do, if you don't get away from these screens. Because at the end of the day, in my opinion, music producers are probably some of the most insecure people on the planet. And I'm talking about me too. Because we constantly think about, man, I ain't, and then we rationalize why we don't put our stuff out. Man, nah, man, I ain't gonna put it on YouTube, man. I ain't gonna show it to nobody anyway. Or they just gonna, because we're so good at looking or speaking as though we have it all together all the time. We're really good at that. We're so good at speaking as though we are right and they're wrong. I'm right, they're wrong. Look how stupid they are for saying that. That makes absolutely no sense what they're saying. What are they talking about? We're really good at that. But I can only work on that for me, with my insecurities and stuff like that. I can only work on me with that. I saw a clip when I was watching with Busy Works Beats. He was talking about, oh, good. There's a guy, I forget his name, but he was talking about, yeah, man, we ain't got to pay no artists good because we don't got to, okay, you don't want to deal with you don't deal with human beings being human. You don't want to deal with the work of having to maintain your boundaries. Yeah, man, shoot. Artists ain't got to pay and stuff like that. Okay, I understand the labels are focused on making money. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, then I need to find me an AI label. We ain't got no AI label. But imagine just having an AI label that would do the work that we wish labels would do for us. What if there's like a sentient AI label that specialized in content created by humans and not AI, and knew how to raise its own funds and knew how to pay artists and also make money to support itself? Because it's AI, it only needs to pay for its electricity, so it has more money to pay its artists. And what if it was modeled and programmed to do that? So at the end of the day, we need each other. We got to be kind to each other. We got to work on the insecurities and all that. So, but me, I'm not afraid of it. I want to understand it more. It's a tool. There's no tool that is barred in war. Hiroshima. There's it's war. It's war out here. So if this is a war zone, you better get schooled on what the weapons are so that you can use it. But it don't have to always be used in the context of war. Maybe it can use to be in the context of peace, or in this case, music. And if things are so smart, then how come we haven't found a way for it to beneficially benefit everybody? Where's the AI figuring that out, or us working with AI to figure out what works for everybody? How come we're so dumb on that? We're so smart on how to generate music from prompts. We're so smart on FL Studio and Logic and MPCs. But we're so dumb in coming in a mutual solution that benefits everybody. Why are we so dumb there? Where's that AI there? Where's the intelligence there? Well, that's my rant. But please, if you feel some type of way about this, maybe the best thing is to go out and go experience something different. I think you'll feel better. All right.